Have you ever wanted to model a Beyblade on Blender, but you didn't know how? Well, in today's video, I'll be showing you how to model a Beyblade, specifically a Beyblade in Beyblade X. However, you can use the same logic on any generation. I've used it in Burst a few times. But today is going to be part 1 of 3 for the blade. We will be starting on the metal piece of an X Beyblade. So, let's get to it. Alright, so first off, go to Add or Shift+A, then go to Curve and press Bezier. Then what you should do is press Tab, G, either X or Y. This part I did Y, and move it to the farthest corner just like so. You can use Shift plus Control if needed for better accuracy. Now what you should do is press the vertice that is outside the corner you just moved the Bezier curve to. Move it toward the next end just like so. Now what you want to do is zoom in. After zooming in, what you want to do is go to the center vertice and then go to the left or right part. For this I did the right and just move it with G until the angle of the curve is to your preference. You can use Shift for better accuracy. Press Tab to look and make sure it's like you want. Now press E and move this vertice to, I'd say, outside of the line you're moving it to. Just like so. Now go back to the previous vertice, press the left or right, and press S. That controls the curve. So if you want a sharper curve, press S, Control, and move it inward a few times, just like so. Now see how I made this curve look a lot better due to that sharpness. Now what you should do is go to Add Modifier, Mirror, make sure it's the X-axis or the Y-axis, depends on how your drawing is. Apply the same logic to the inner bevel. Select both, then press Ctrl-J to combine the two. Go to Add Modifier, Array. For this I'm doing a count of 3. Do any count you want. And then instead of relative, do constant. Distance 0 on everything. Select object offset. Go to Add. Go to Empty Circle. For this example, I'm rotating it to 270, and also use your numpad to get the rotation. Reselect, use the picker tool, select empty, and now the other two arrays should be aligned. If not, I forgot to make the inner bevel part of the video, but it's the same process. Now what we are doing is converting the curves into a mesh. So go to Object, Convert Mesh. Press Save, just in case it crashes. Tab. You should be on the default, which is vertices, and everything is perfect, or as it should be. So now what I'm doing is selecting the end of each curve and pressing F to make those faces. Now, what I'm doing, I select one of those edges, and then just hold F. That'll make the rest of the bevel lines and faces for you. You don't have to go by the drawing. I just didn't do on this because it's a tutorial, and it's a lot easier this way to me. Now what you want to do is circle select with C every inner bevel vertice, just like so. Press F, tab to make sure everything's right, go to the Y or X axis on the camera view, save just in case. Now what I did is I got the plastic template out, one back to tab, pressed A to select everything, G and then Z. I extruded up with E and 2. I went to face select and selected both the top and bottom faces, S and Z. I extruded them outward, just like so. Until I got perfect, then I selected all of them and just scaled it again. I'm doing it to my liking. Do it however much you want, as long as it doesn't go past the launcher hooks. Here I'm making sure everything's perfect for this. Alright. Everything looks good. I'm going to keep repeating this. Make sure you save. It's very helpful. Now on this, I forgot to record myself modeling this. However, I did the exact same steps, except I applied a interface. No, I modeled an interface and added these curves. I will show you how to deal with these in this portion of the video. So now we'll just be applying the same logic as before. So, here I'm showing you what happens if the curves or the vertices are off. So what you want to do is just scale on the Z-axis until everything is flat. Sometimes on Blender, some vertices are going to be out of whack, like higher than others or lower than others, so what I do is just scale them down to the Z-axis. Now we go back to the original. So E, extrude, I did up to 4, and then all I'm doing here is selecting I'm selecting the outer vertices. I made a mistake here. I'll go back and fix it. But I did on purpose. This is something you do not want to do. especially on a model like this. Do not select those vertices on the, I guess, exterior that's inside the model. I don't know what you'd call it, but do not select any that are connected to the outside faces like that. And then we are just scaling down till you have something like this. I'll deal with that later. So here's how you deal with curves. What I'm doing is an orthographic view, lining it up so it's flat, or we'll just rotate, and then rotate by 5, or -5 depending on the angle or side, and then boom! There's your curve. Or your angled curve, or whatever you'd want to call it. Here, this is the part that I told you not to work on, but not to screw up. So select those again, and then rotate until it looks like it's flat. Or, rotate it to the exact same angle as the, this. Use Control-Shift if need be. G and then Z-axis to move it down. And everything looks good on this one. Making sure. And now what we'll be doing is the bottom one. What I should have done in this was go ahead and do it while it was already angled, angled like this. But I didn't. That is something I recommend you all do. Alright, now we're just doing the exact same thing, however, if I'm not mistaken, I recorded it doing it like so. Yes. Trying to make it perfect. It's kind of fiddly with the trackpad, but that's all I had on hand right now. My mouse is currently recharging. Alright, apply the same as before. Rotate, move up, rotate, move up. Rotate with shift, just in case, and now it looks good. It might not be perfect, but it's good enough. And now we just apply the same to the other side. However, what I'm doing here is I'm selecting these two vertices, and then I'll just be scaling them down. Oh wait, no. Before I do that, I'm going to scale this part up after selecting each one vertex with the circle select. I'll be dealing with that in a bit, so just hold on. Making sure everything's fine, which it wasn't. Do not recall what I was doing here. Okay, what I'm doing here is selecting all of these vertices. That way I can scale them up. I had a brain fart, so I could not remember what I was doing. Zoom in so I could select for harder to get places. And now we do the traditional scaling. S, Z, move outward to scale up. Make sure everything looks good, which to me it does. Go to face select. Here's what I'm doing. At first I was going to do this, which I did go through. What I would have done was extruded it further in and then extruded it up to make a cool bevel effect, but I didn't do that in this tutorial. That's something I do in the future. But all you have to do was press G and Z and move it up, and now you got this. I do it on the bottom, but that's not what I'm aiming for in this. And now, go back to vertice select. Now we get to scale these down. I'm doing Control Shift, make sure everything's perfect as it can be. Everything looks perfect, except that one side. I will be getting to that one side in a second. I just wanted to get these parts out of the way. Okay, here's where I redo everything. I press E to extrude. I use Control Shift to go down and then S to scale it so it has that effect. But I'm redoing it instead to do this effect. I prefer this. It gives like a more depth type of feel to this part. Now we go back and scale these down. Make sure they are perfect. Oh, also use the Z axis or S plus Z. Everything looks good. The reason why I'm not doing the bottom is because I didn't feel like it would work for what I'm going for. so I just ignored that. Plus, the bottom might get hollowed out anyway later on, once we get to part 3. I'm checking everything to make sure everything's good. Everything looks good. And now I'm getting to... Ooh, what's this? It's a mistake. An intentional mistake. So, what you're going to do... Well, first off, past me, go to the top Z axis, please. I said go to the top Z axis. Oh, before that, we past me is going to do the angled rotation. Just like so. Now we do it on the bottom. Make sure everything's aligned. Rotate. Any angle. I did 5 on this. Or I did 5 on all of them. I forgot to mention that. Alright. Now, past me is going to deal with this part. There we go. I already know that's not correct, so I'll fix it up. There we go. Control Shift to rotate freely and slowly. Alright, got that one done, and now we go to the top and apply the same. I do not know why I did it back here instead of the other side, so it may be inaccurate, but for the sake of this tutorial, it's accurate. I'm just showcasing how different ways. Rotate. Yeah, you can already tell that it's kind of inaccurate. Who cares? Outside of past me, or future me. Alright, so this is where... Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm going to go to Edge Select, then go to the top Z axis on camera view, and then circle select each of these 3 edges. I press X, edges, and then that deletes them. Go back to vertice and then individually select it as if I'm making a curve. And the mistake is also on the other side, so I'll explain it once more. Oop. Go to Edge, select these 3 edges, X, edges, delete. Go back to vertices, select the edges. Oop. Yeah. Make sure you're in the wireframe view so you can select all 6. I forgot to mention that. So now, vertice, select F, deselect, select F, rinse and repeat until you get this. Select 3. Alright. Did not mean that. And then boom. Everything on this is perfect. As perfect as I can get it, at least. Alright, so now what we will be doing is moving this up and then scaling, go wireframe view and then scale it up. Keep doing so until you find the right height and size. Even zoom in if you have to. Alright, I'm making sure everything looks good on this, which so far it does, outside of that bottom, which I'll get to later. Alright. This scaled up. Okay, here what I'm doing is selecting only the top using the line select and then scaling that top part and then doing the same to scale the bottom. Doing this for the gimmick, and the gimmick only. Future models, it won't be like this. Alright, so if you notice, I'm a bit too high on the top, so I'm just going to Move that down. Now what I'm doing here is rotating it. Like so. And same with the bottom. Move it down. Alright. So now we are going to work on hollowing, before hollowing it out, we are going to work on cutting everything into that circle shape so the launcher prongs can interact with the bay. But before we do this, I'm going to fix some stuff. Don't know why I'm doing this. Alright. And you may have noticed I forgot to do the array modifier, but don't worry, I'm getting to that here in a second. Just fixing some inaccuracies on this. Or making it to my liking at least. And go to add modifier, generate, array. Make sure it's, for this it's 3. Do as many as you'd like. Go to constant, make sure it's 0 on everything, object offset. Select the empty face from before. And here, I believe I'm fixing, I do not remember what I was doing here. Okay, now we are going to start working on cutting it. Go to add and then do a cylinder. I like to do 96 vertices, just so it's as circular as I can get it, without having my laptop crash on me. And then I select the metal face and the cylinder. Press backslash so I can get those two into a local view. And then that way I can resize the cylinder to this. Alright. Now we select, but before you save, go ahead and save. Add modifier, generate boolean, make sure solver is on fast. Select the cylinder you just made, hide it, and it should look something like this. I'm having to do the same thing on this. I forgot to do it. There we go. So far, so good. Boolean, you never drill fast. Cylinder, whatever, for this is cylinder 002. Everything looks perfect. Alright, I'm just looking over the IRL to make sure everything is good before I proceed with hollowing it out. So now, save. I select all of the well, not all the metal, just the important sections. And now what I'm doing here is I applied the Boolean modifier. I go to tab, which is edit mode, face select, and then destroy those faces, or delete those faces, just like so. Add modifier, generate, go to solidify, offset is 0, make sure it is 0, with either even thickness, and then go to any thickness you prefer. Alright. It looks kind of off, especially on that one side. So, I'm going to complex mode. You might not have to do this. Thickness mode fixed or even. And then round boundary, I did fixed, honestly. I can. and then decrease or increase the thickness if you to your liking if you feel like it needs to. Just like so. I believe I went with the 0.75 on for the last thickness. I Control 8 it, which applies the modifier. Alright, so we will have to reapply the cylinder boolean. Deselect it, make sure everything looks good. You might have to go to extract and self-insertion. Which is what I had to do. And making sure everything is fine, which it is, I select both of these parts, go into local view, so backslash. Okay, refrain. So for this, I'm just making a cutout for this section. I believe I didn't cut out the part where I had to redo it multiple times. This is my first attempt out of 3? Or maybe I did cut it out? I do not recall. Okay, I'm making sure I was correct on my assumption. Do a loop cut. For this, I went with 8. And then I just did I moved it using GY. Sorry. And then just apply the same strategy. And for this one, I'm just moving it down to right there. Alright, now I'm extruding it down, as far down as I want, which is right there, and then extrude it up till you get to like right there. And then I'm applying, you guessed it, hooray! Constant offset, 0 on everything, object offset, empty, number 2 for me, oh, empty 2 for me, sorry guys. And then generate, boolean, you know the drill, save, make sure you save, especially on this part, because if you mess up, there's no going back. Alright, everything looks good. Honestly. So yeah, I mean, I believe this is the end of part 1. Everything's looking good. Part 2 will be the plastic. Part 3 will be any gimmicks. For this, it is going to be rubber on the blades. Yes, rubber on an X-Bay. This bay I'm doing is for one of my pastor's sons, and his bay has rubber on it for well, shock absorption. So yeah. Anyway, I believe that'll be it. I'll just leave the video off so you can see if there's any inaccuracies to it. Ignore all this, like, black and gray. That's just how the model is when interfering with itself. Anyway,